everyone knows, right? The Nazis. This is exactly what Hitler did. He had the SS go around, killing off his political adversaries, and then finding ways to blame them for the hardships of the people in the country. That happened because you had immigrants here taking your jobs. That's why we had to kill him, because he was for the immigrants, or he was for the Jews, or he was for this, or he was for that. And if we don't get rid of them, we'll never be able to be better. And it works.
And you can really see it when Sutra, is addressing it, and then she looks to Soji and it's like, do you agree? Like that peer pressure, because she is a synth, and, Sutra's basically synths unite. Like that would be her slogan, and it was so strong. And then, Soji just doesn't even consider Picard, any of the organics that she has come in contact with. Like she falters under that peer pressure and agrees to whatever Sutra says.
And on top of that, now Soji is fully synth. Because before that, in her mind, she was still kind of disgusted about being a synth. Because she had been conditioned to hate them her whole life.
Yeah. And
very quickly, she's had to change course, finding out what she really is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting how Soji makes that transition. I think it's shown very well in this episode where she has to deliberate, and she even says, that there's no calculus of life and death. Like, taking a life to save a life. This is what it's come down to. And in part, like you said, because the Zhat Vash that's their main mission. Kill all synths.
Right. So if killing a few of them can save a race, then yes, killing a few of them is good. The problem is we've seen leaders use that excuse when it wasn't true forever.
Right.
It's really easy for me to sit behind the TV and say, well, they're going to kill all of them, so it's justified that they kill them first. That's easy. But in the moment, you're not privy to all the information the viewer is privy to.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have countless times in history where races thought they were going to be annihilated when they weren't. And they ended up almost causing the annihilation of another one.
Right. Yeah.
If you go back to Greek city-states and Roman city-states, you'll see troops going to other cities believing that city that they're currently going to is going to be the one that is their demise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So can we talk about why I think Jean-Luc Picard is the definition of insanity?
Because he keeps doing exactly the same thing over and over again, expecting new results?
Yes. Okay, what was up with that speech? I mean, since 14 years ago, we know Picard can't trust the Federation as much as he does. And yet he still is like, I will go on your behalf. I will plead for you.
I don't think he trusts the Federation. I don't. I think he trusts in himself, and I think that he had no other option. What is he going to do? Just go, all right, screw it, kill us all. All right.
Okay, no.
We're good.
I have an alternate solution, and I want you to see if this would work for you. Because I've thought a lot about this. So, what, in my opinion, Picard should have done was said, listen, we have the ship. We can transport you all. We are going to go to another place. That will give you time to build the beacon, and you can get your backup. During that time, I will go and relay all this information on how powerful you are. Try and talk to the Zhat Vash, talk to everyone in the Federation, everyone, and explain the situation and get a treaty and say, look, the synths are over there in that quadrant. We are over here. Do not attack. If you want to attack, then you're on your own. And then if the Zhat Vash continue to attack, then they're going to get destroyed. But make sure that the synths don't destroy all of organics.
I don't think that's an option.
It is.
No, it's not, because Soji went to her and said, let's go somewhere else. We can build up. And she said, absolutely not. We'll just keep running place to place. So I think they wrote that off for us. Okay? Now, I understand Jean-Luc's not privy to that conversation. I
don't think that they were taking into account Picard and setting up a treaty.
Okay, but it's still off the table because she's not going to do that because she already has an option that wins. I also think she would never be convinced Okay, if the Zhat Vash keep attacking, kill them and only them.
Yeah, that's what we want. Just kill.
But I don't think she would ever be convinced of that. And I don't think these other beings would be convinced of that either. I think once they're called, they're ending life. And now the stakes are raised to discovery levels.
Right? I know. I picked up on that. I'm like, yep, it's no longer saving Soji's life.
No, we did that already. Screwed that up awfully.
Well, that was my plan. I was like, Picard should have done something like that. If Sutra, I think, had he had a little bit more time, could have convinced the others because they weren't as radicalized as Sutra and somehow like
well, the problem here is that he started with the top. Don't make the speech. Just walk around and convince people.
Yes.
Stop trying to do things up front.
Yeah.
That's the dumb move. You have to start being more like everybody else. Everybody else is doing things behind closed doors. Get it through your head, Picard. You can't be the guy you were in TNG because times aren't like TNG.
Well, and also because his promises hold no weight, as Alton pointed out.
And they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. He's no longer the big guy in the house anymore.
No. He's no longer the Picard we know.
Yeah.
He is damaged because he didn't follow up with the Romulans, because Starfleet did accept his resignation when he threw it out there.
Right.
All these things have, and then because he disappeared for 14 years after that. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That part's the part that's insanity to me. Stop making. You made a big speech on the Romulan planet when you went to go get Elnor, and you got someone's head chopped off for it. Oh, and stop thinking we can't just kill people to fix problems, please, because obviously that's working for some people. And maybe if you'd step up and kill this one android, and soon this would all be over. But you're not going to do that because you're Picard.
Take a life to save a life.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And I'm sorry, but it's just simple wartime mathematics. If I can kill 2 to save 200, then that's worth it.
Yes. So, still talking about Soji. This is a question I have. When Soji returns and meets Arcana, and she's like, "Oh, I know your name. It's Arcana," and things are coming back to her memory. And then Arcana asks, "Have you completed your mission?" And Soji answers yes. Pat, what was that mission that she had?
To get that ammunition back to the planet.
Really?
I think so. She found out the information. The idea was to find out the information that the Romulans had. Well, she didn't get it from them, but she got it from Girardi and brought Girardi back. So, yes, she did her mission.
I think that just for me came off too blatant that I don't even think Soji knew her mission. I mean, she obviously didn't, but yet she still fulfilled it.
Not until she's activated. But I think
she was slowly
purpose.
Activated.
Correct, but she didn't know it until she was fully activated, which is why she now knows she completed her mission.
So that mission that she was on...
She also we might find out she has information on the weaknesses of the Romulan fleet at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Which might also be part of her mission.
Okay, yeah. Which we might see next week, yeah.
Yeah.
So that mission, she was sent out by Maddox, who Alton Soong claims that Maddox became deceptive and devious. So no one else knew that Maddox sent Soji and Daj out, but that doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Because they welcome her and ask, "Did you complete your mission?" So the fact that they asked that question doesn't mean that Maddox was being devious or deceptive.
No, just because he was devious and deceptive, they don't necessarily mean to them. He could just not have been someone that would program in lies or hide the fact that they were androids before then. At that moment, he was devious. He created an android that was so perfect, people couldn't tell it was an android. Just because he says it doesn't mean they were devious towards Alton.
But Alton felt like personally betrayed.
Maybe because he left, though, and went to another planet.
Bruce Maddox. Oh.
Yeah, they found him on another planet.
Oh, because, right, they Stardust City, Rag.
Right.
And what was he doing there?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. So that's a little...
Well, we were looking for him, weren't we? Yes, because he was supposed to be traded.
Yeah. But why did he, Maddox, leave Capellius?
I don't know.
Maybe that was him being deceptive, that he left without letting anyone know what he was doing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
A big plot hole is what you're saying here.
Yeah. I
agree.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Then that sort of makes a little bit more sense. I mean, it's still a big hole, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't think Daj and Soji necessarily are the deception, except for the fact that they are in themselves deceptive to who they come across.
Right.
But I don't think their existence is a deception to Capellius.
Yeah, no, I think you're right that Maddox probably left without letting anyone know. And so that's what I think the deception is. Okay. All right. I'm fine with that now. So can we talk about the Borg Cube, 7 of 9, Elnor, and how absolutely pointless they are to this story so far?
Oh.
Unless you disagree with me.
No, not at all. I just know people are going to hate me. Beyond less, I didn't even want to talk about them because they're so pointless. I mean, first off, she doesn't mention anything about getting the cube to go in a certain direction until we get to this episode, and that's after she's not the queen anymore.
Right.
So,
and
she just typed it in the computer? Like,
she did the transconduit warp.
Yeah, but the whole idea is this thing is severed from the rest of the hive, right?
Yes.
So, in order to be connected to something again, she becomes the queen, which brings the cube back online.
Yes.
And then disconnects, but it's still online.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
I see your point. It doesn't make sense.
She should either stay connected, or it should be an artifact again. It shouldn't be living, not connected to the hive.
Right. Because there's no one.
Right. When she becomes the queen, she is the hive. So.
Yeah. That's a good point. Another point is when.
Just to see him cry.
Another point is that it's like, well, what are you doing here? Well, we came to help you. What exactly did they do?
They crashed. Oh, and they used up 3 flowers.
Yeah.
By the way, the flowers suck.
Nobody
can make a right-hand turn at any point during this attack to get away from the flowers.
Get there. Let's talk about the cube, though. No. So we get Elnor and 7, and what help did they do? They might be helpful in next time, hopefully. But yeah, it's like, and then Picard's 7 is like, well, go out and save the universe. And he's like, well, that's up to you now. Or, whatever that handoff is. And I'm like, what is she going to do? Like, what is their mission now that they're not helping Picard anymore? To revamp the XBs?
She better go back in there, become a queen again, and shoot this thing back into space and start shooting some Romulan ships, or this is useless.
Exactly. I felt like their inclusion in this episode was useless. Maybe the payoff will come next week. I sure hope so. But it felt like they were such an after effect. And then again, going to the point that we spent an entire episode learning who Elnor is and still are not getting the payoff with him. It's a little annoying, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible because he didn't save the cube. He didn't save Hugh. He didn't save Picard after he killed one guy on the Romulan planet. Like,
yeah.
Greatest fighter ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he can fight, don't get me wrong, but
he can. Yeah.
We don't, I mean, all of this just so that Picard could tell him he's proud of him.
Yeah.
And for him to say, well, this feels like you're dying. And he goes, well, that's true of any 2 people saying goodbye.
Yeah,
this could always be the last time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I get it. It can always be the last time I say goodbye, but